So we're finally there, the end of season 12, The Timeless Children, the finale. It happened. It was on TV last night. Me and my wife watched it, and it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We got the answers we've been hoping for, largely. We found out who Jo Martin's roof doctor was. We found out what the Timeless Child was. We found out all the questions and all the answers that we wanted throughout the series, and then, just to top it off, Chris Chibnall threw us in on a cliffhanger at the end and left it all tied up in a neat little bow, waiting for season 13. So he's got us fully answered, fully satisfied with the answers, at least on my part, for season 12. But then he's thrown something in right at the end that's going to leave you anticipating season 13, and it's going to leave you coming back, basically. And I know a lot of fans are upset that the festive special, or the next time we will see Doctor Who, will be in something called Revolution of the Daleks. That'll be the name of the episode. And they want to know how it all ties into what happened at the end of this episode. And they feel a bit upset that they're being teased with Daleks and that they're being left on a cliffhanger. But that's just good drama, isn't it? You have to be left hanging. You have to be left wanting more. That's exactly what Chris Chibnall has done. Now, obviously, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I'm going to presume you've seen Ascension of the Cybermen. You saw the Master come back at the end, through the portal, through the boundary, and who said everything is about to change, and he was not wrong. In this episode, we see the origins of regeneration. We see how that came to be. We see how and why Time Lords only get 13 regenerations or 12 life cycles. We see the structure. We get the little bit more backstory is now fleshing out. Especially if you're a fan of the revived series, like I am, and you're not old enough to know or remember the classic series. You get a bit more of a backstory now about the Time Lords, Gallifrey, their society, their secrets, how they came to develop space travel and then time travel, and how they came to be the masters of time. You get a little bit of information about this secretive unit that would flout the Time Lords' non-intervention policy. This off-the-grid elite unit that would specifically go and get involved in events in time, whereas the Time Lords on the outer surface, outwardly, wouldn't have any intervention. They had a non-intervention policy. But this specialist, almost Men in Black-esque unit would go and do that. And the Timeless Child, if you've seen the episode, you know who that is. They were a member of that unit. They were involved in that unit. They were a part of that group. We found out who Brendan was. All the questions that we got have been answered in one episode, and it was a slow-moving episode, but still thoroughly enjoyable, because it was an episode in which the Doctor and the Master essentially have a battle on Gallifrey, and everything is explained by the Master through essentially storytelling, and it's phenomenal. It's a brilliant episode. It was a very good finale. I think it's the best finale since maybe Journey's End. Very, very good. Very entertaining. Very dramatic. Very powerful, emotive. See, this is what happens. We had no PC in this episode, much. This is what happens when you put PC in an episode, but you don't make it outwardly. You don't make it the core focus of the episode. You don't let plot fall by the sidelines in favour of PC. We had a couple of moments where PC was thrown in. For instance, the reference to our founding parents rather than founding fathers or founding mothers or anything like that. So we had a couple of woke moments, but it wasn't too much. It wasn't, this is, we're PC, look how woke we are, in your face. That's what happens when you let wokeness and political correctness just simmer in the background and you don't make it the forefront of the episode. You get good episodes, Chris Chibnall. Take heed, take notice. Less Saul from 55, more Timeless Children, please, for season 13. Now, speaking of season 13, here's what I want to see. I want to see, because the one, if only, gripe that I had with this episode was that the Cybermen once again fell into the background and they became the secondary threat. Last time we see the Cybermen, I believe it was when Missy was using them as a rental army, and it's that's essentially what has happened again in The Timeless Children. The Cybermen have become a Renton army for the Master. And the Master is the main villain. Now, I love the Master as a villain. I think he's brilliant. But he can be overused. And I'm hoping now that we see less of him for a little while. Because a character being the Master, or a revelation of the Master, is supposed to be shocking. It's supposed to be dramatic. And when O was revealed as the Master at the start of the season, that was dramatic. When Professor Yana was revealed to be the Master, that was dramatic because we hadn't seen him for years. When the little caretaker guy, I can't remember his name, in the Peter Capaldi run was revealed to be John Simm's Master again, that was dramatic because we thought we had the Master. We thought Missy was the Master, and then there was another incarnation of the Master, and they existed at the same time. That was dramatic. When Missy was revealed to be a female version of the Master, that was dramatic. But it feels like using the Master at the start of the season and at the end of the season, they're running him a bit dry now, and I want to see less of him for a little while, for a few seasons at least, until we think. See, Doctor Who has got to let you think that the Master is dead and gone, he's finished, and he never is, because he's the Master. He always finds a way to survive. I want to see less of him, just enough for the viewer, for the audience to think, oh, maybe that was actually it, maybe he's actually finished, and then he comes back. And because the Master is one of those characters, it has to be dramatic. So that's the one grab I had with the episode. The rest of the episode was fantastic. That's what I want to see for season 13. I want to see more Cybermen focused stories, because they had the potential here to do a Cyberman story, a good Cyberman story. We haven't had one of those yet in the classic series, and in the revived series, sorry, as far as I'm aware. We haven't had a Cyberman story. Even when the only Cyberman story we've had actually in the revived series solely focused on the Cybermen was the Age of Steel, and that little two-parter we had in season 2. I want to see another Cyberman story, a proper Cyberman story where they are the threat, because they get put to the back too often, and they're a good villain, they're a good enemy. They get put to the back too often in favour of the Daleks, in favour of the Master. I want to see them be the sole threat. The lone Cyberman, he was a brilliant villain, he was a brilliant enemy. He is the proof that you can make good villains out of the Cybermen. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next season, I suppose. I've got a couple of plans to do with books. I might start doing book reviews of Doctor Who. We'll see how things go. But if not, I'll see you in season 13.